Hello, guys. This is Jaya for the session of digitalization. Today, I'm going to talk about the digitalization, their importance, and with the interesting case study, which is really helpful in our business life for today. So, today we'll take the scenario first for this session. So, the session scenario is between two friends whose name is Bob and David. Bob is earning less, whereas David is earning more. So the reason behind why David is earning more is because he's using a digitalization way to in his business module where he's taking keeping all the documents on an online platform, trying to give more and more services to the customers through the online platform, even taking their requests, doing their bookings and everything. So that's the reason the customers are coming back to back for the business, whereas the Bob is struggling for the same. Why he's struggling? Because he is struggling because he is using the traditional way of doing it, where he's keeping a bunch of papers with it. He is trying to take the approvals in a manual way, where it is taking a hell lot of time, where the customer do not want to wait for that much of time, because everybody wants in this time to be very instant, have a quick resolution to the services, everything. So here, Bob is struggling for the same to get his business running, whereas David has a very smooth running of his business model because he's doing each and everything in an online platform where he's keeping everything safe and secured. So now we'll come to understand the situation scenario, how and what is the difference between these two methods. So the difference between these methods, I would suggest that in digitalization method, it is a low costing, less manpower is used, less time consumer, and even the cost saving is very less. Plus, it is a fast processing and the risk of error is very low. So these things, if are the ingredients in a digitalization method, it makes the business module to run very smoothly, and it will give the instant resolution to the customers whenever they want, whatever they want. And even you can also search about how is your product is going, how is your brand is going. You can get the feedback online. So these five things comprises of the digitalization to make your business smooth, where these advantages are not there. Why? Because it is has a lot of time is consumed, more manpower is used, high costing is there, very slow processing, and lastly, the errors, the risk of errors are very high. So when we are talking about the errors, it can be errors in a document, it can be errors in a booking, it can be errors in approval, it can be anything. So it will take a lot of time to get the things done in a proper manner. But if we are using digitalization method, it makes our work more easy, more convenient, more fast, so that it makes our business module much more faster, and it will always try to help the consumer with their requests, complaints, or whatever the queries they have regarding your product or your brand or anything. So this is how the difference, what we differentiate between the traditional and the digitalization. So now we'll understand what is digitalization in today's world. So digitalization, if I say, it is comprising of four things. That is, first is the technology, second is the process, third is a uh, process organizational change, and last is the data. So how the technology plays a part in this, because when we see a number of apps when we are using, I'm taking in our domestic things, that many people are using apps. So there the technology comes also, it also helps the apps to move faster. The interface should be good, where the person should uh, take the apps, using the apps, whether it is buying or booking or seeing anything, any knowledge they are taking or any data they are taking, even the analysis part. So if the apps are really good, so the consumers will come back to back with that uh, for the services or anything. So that is the reason the technology is most important in a digitalization method. If the technology is good, if software is good, if everything is good, then you can run your business very smoothly. Second comes the automation process, where if you do the automation process where you do it everything, every service, or even for the feedback, or for the purchases, if that process is an online, that makes the consumer um, becomes convenient for the consumer, the interface becomes friendly with the consumer, so that he can go anywhere whenever he's using the app. Whatever the product he's searching, he or she should get the better results into it. So that is the main part when we are talking about the process change, or we are talking about the technology. And thirdly, when it comes for the data part also, so in this third ingredient, where we can collect that data from an online platform, how is it possible? When we are trying to look at, we can take the feedback, we can take the survey from the consumers, even we can look up how is your brand is going about, how many people are aware of your brand or your product or your company. So this, you can make a compile of data on an online platform, and you can keep it secure, and if you can see it for your own thinking or your own strategies to make the business more and more fast. So this is how it complies, or it makes a digitalization method where you are running your business on an online platform. If these things are there, so you can make more and more profit, you can increase more and more purchase in your website. So that is the main thing where digitalization play a very vital role. Even you can do the advertising in the social media pages, because nowadays everybody is very much active in social media pages. It is regarding each and everything, whether you are talking about a product or a company, or you're talking about how you can buy the product, or where is a shop, or anything, any information about the company or the brand, you can advertise it on an social media pages, where it is very easy, or you can say it's very convenient for the people to look out for it, because it grabs attention when you are searching or you are seeing any social media pages. It gives a pop-up every time about your product, about your brand, about your company. That makes an easy awareness to the people that there the product is also there in this particular website also. So this is how what we call a digitalization, where you can compile each and everything, whether it is related to your data, whether it is related to your sale or your purchase or anything, that you can put it as, you can compile it online, you can save it, you can secure those things in an online platform. So this becomes your work easy. It doesn't have that much effort. But if you use in a traditional way, if you think about in a traditional way, it have a lot of efforts in doing so. So I would suggest that digitalization is more and more important to grow our business to heights. So now in the next slide, we'll comprise of what is the importance of digitalization. So if I have to discuss about, or we have to talk about importance, the first and the foremost which comes the importance of digitalization is, first thing is the efficiency, where whatever the process you're following in an online platform for your business, that should be very efficient. It can be in any way, whether it about a data, whether it about a service, or whether it can be anything, that should not provide, or it should not have any errors when the consumer is using your app or a website. This is how it decreases that risk of errors when we are using digitalization method in a business, whether it is you're booking a ticket or you're selling any product on an online platform. So if this is main thing, if it decreases the errors, that makes you easy to increase the profits. So second most, how do you increase the profit in your business life? So that will be only be done when you are retaining those customers, those potential customers, where you are targeting those customers to come back and do the repeat purchases on your website, or you can do it on an app, because nowadays app is really convenient rather than people are going on a website to purchase the things. For me, if I talk about myself, it would be my phone is full of apps, so I always look out the things in the, if I have to buy any simple product, which I can do it on apps, which is really more easy. I don't have to open my laptop, or I have to search for a website or something. If it is an app, it is really convenient for me, whether I'm doing for a payment, whether I'm purchasing for anything. That becomes really easy for it. For me, it is very easy, because for me right now, these are the convenient ways to do the things. Because I don't go anywhere to do all the traditional way, traveling from shop to shop, distance to distance to get the product. I can easily get it on app. I can easily get it on a website. I can get about the knowledge. I can get to know about the feedback. I can get to know about the experience. Even these things makes the easy for the consumer to go through it, because he's also traveling, or one way or the other he's traveling, he or she is traveling for that particular thing. But the time is very less consuming, because he is opening in different tabs, and he can just compare the deals or the prices what you talk about, and that is coming through in a one platform. You don't have to run here and there. So that is what the digitalization have the impact, or what we can say, it's a really effective to grow our business. Second, which I told about, that a retain of the customers. How do we retain those customers? If I take about my experience, if the person on any particular, if I'm talking about Amazon, if I'm talking about a Flipkart or anything, if my query is being resolved, if my complaint is being resolved, I'll be very happy. I would recommend this website to other people also, even to my friends also. So the service part is more important when you are trying to service your potential customer. You're targeting those customers, so these customers will come back for the repeat purchases, as well as they will recommend the same thing to their members, or wherever they work, or to their friends, or to their party social life. So your website becomes popular in that way. In a one way or the other, it becomes popular if you get a if you give the good service. Because I really happy, because day in day out I also deal with complaints. I have a lot of complaints where I get a damaged product, or if I get my product is not being delivered to me. So I also talk to the representative, and the representative is helping me in that query to solve it. I'm really happy. I'm really happy that he or she is taking the patience to solve it, and he is taking those efforts so that the customer should be happy. And secondly, he's putting out the survey also, that okay, we had a conversation, and after, how do you feel about that conversation? You can give that survey also. So in that perspective, you also get the feedback for your product or your brand or your website. So can you think about, can it be happen in a traditional way? You can't do it, because the customer will never stand for it, will never wait for that much of time. You want that instant resolution, and it can be done. So this is how, what we call about the importance of digitalization. These two are the most important things when you are running your business on an online platform, and these are really important ingredient to grow it. So we'll talk about more things, like we have talked about the errors, we have talked about retaining of the customers. We'll talk about, we can secure these documents whatever we are making it. The most important thing, if you are have too many documents for a particular product or a brand or something, so what is the easiest way will you suggest that it should be secured? If I'm putting it in online, we are putting on a folder, we are saving it. So if something happens to our system, worst come scenario is, we can fix that system, we can retrieve those documents, we can do many more things.
We can put an antivirus to protect our system so that no virus should come and defect it. Can we put these things or these pointers to the traditional method? No, because they are all working on the papers. Now, today's world is paperless. Why? Because we are using laptop, we are using phones, we are using systems where we can everything we are putting all the data on an online cloud where everything is safe and sound. And if it has been disrupted or anything, we can retrieve those. That is the major point when we are doing business on an online platform. So this is how the importance or the impact or the effectiveness of digitalization is there in a business life or in a business growth. Now we'll talk about examples of digitalization. So for me, I would suggest email campaigning is, I can say that is one of the example for digitalization. So how it will be if I have to campaign about my brand or my product or a deal or something, so we can do it through email campaigning, or we can pop up, we can advertise on a social media, which I have discussed when we were talking about digitalization. So this is what really easy. Earlier, we what we used to do, we used to print those flyers or pamphlets, or we used to give it to every household. But when I'm doing it online, I do not have to go anywhere. We can just put it through an email, and it will go across to 1,000 to 2,000 people. More than that, I'm talking about a minimum figure in this. So this is one of the thing. Second thing, I would give an example for digital signatures. You all know everybody is looking out, filling up the forms or something. It is always online now, and nobody is going to a bank or doing and filling up the forms physically. So first of all, the time is very less consumed, and my processing work is fast. If I'm doing it online, it would take like 2 to 3 days nowadays. And when I'm doing in a traditional way, it taking like 15 to 20 days. So you people should understand that 2 or 3 days of processing would be more effective rather than doing it in a 50 to 20 days processing work. So for me, whether I go for a digital signature or whether I go for online banking or I go for any doing RD, FD, anything. So if I'm doing it online, my time is less consumed, and I don't have to stand in a queue. Doing, whether I'm sitting in an office or at home, I can use my laptop and do my things on my own. I don't have to sit or I don't have to wait for the service to be done. So this is how I can tell the examples of digitalization. So we come to now the advantage of digitalization. So advantage from this whole session, what I understood, and that is a time saving, it is cost saving is there, and the accuracy is the one of the most easy distribution, which I've told whatever the information, if you want to give to like if I give an example to 5 to 10 people or more than that 20 people, you can give it through email, or uh, there is many email is the best option where you can do it. Then you can secure those documents in an cloud, and where if it is effective or if it is disrupted or anything, if it is corrupted, we can still retrieve those documents. That is the reason that is secured. And the lastly, it is the increased in profits. How it is increased? Because you are retaining those potential customers, you are serving those customers so well that they are really happy with the service and they will come for the repeat purchases. So these, if key pointers for the digitalization, if these pointers are there, so we can flourish our business like anything. But if we don't have these pointers and we are doing in a traditional way, it has become a really tough, and it's very hard for a person to run a business, because when we sit in a shop or something, we just wait for the customers to come and look out the products in our shop. But where in digitalization, everything it is online, and if there are thousands of products are online, the person would see and those things in online platform, and they can just select and get through it. And if they have any issues or complaints, they can talk to the executive and get their issues resolved. So this is what the advantages are. And that is really important nowadays, because if these things are there, you can flourish. But if these pointers are not there, you can't do anything. You can't fulfill the needs of the consumers. You can't grow your business. Now we are concluding this session when we have learned about what is digitalization, what is the importance, and with the scenario, situation, and everything. Now I'm concluding this session with a case study. So when we are talking about a case study, I always have an interesting case study with a QR code, where QR code is really, really important nowadays, because you can say it's a very hot cake nowadays, because uh, QR code, when you scan it, whether you're doing a payment option or whether you are doing a purchasing or anything, QR code is the best part at anything is there. So QR code differentiates that you don't have to stand in a queue, and by this QR code, you can get your service instantly. So what I am representing the company of UX Living Lab. So here, everything, any service is done, or any whatever you require the services from us, it is done through a QR code, which is really very easy for you to first of all, you can download from our website, that is uxlivinglab.com. Secondly, I would provide you a calendar where you can just book an appointment with us, where if you want to know about the company, know about the products or the services, even the pricing, we can help you instantly, so you don't have to wait in a queue to get through it. And I will be providing that app where you can just instantly download it. Instead of going to the website, you can do it from there. Just register it. It will ask only your name and email ID and will create your QR code. So this is what a QR code plays a vital role in a digitalization, because without a QR code, nowadays the persons don't want to stand in a queue, and you all know, because even I don't want to stand. So if that things resolve through a one simple QR code, a simple image, so why would I not opt for it if I'm getting the service instantly? So according to me, QR code is very good. So what I'm talking about nowadays, the QR code and the case study which I'm going to talk about is in education. How this QR code is used in education. Everybody in now in this pandemic era, everybody is doing an online classes, you all know, and every kid is sitting um, at home and just studying online, getting whatever the test or anything, they can do it. So the most important effective thing use, if I'm saying, it is very less time consumption, where we can use this QR code. I'll show you. Um, this is a QR code where if we scan it, then we'll get this picture. This form will comes, and this shows when we scan the QR code, we get um, the link instantly, a direct link to go to that particular page. Instead of going here and there, the kid doesn't has to go elsewhere to search for this link. So as soon as you scan it, then you can get the main page, and where you can just the form is there, where he can fill up everything. If there is a test, this is what I'm talking about. This is a test paper which the teacher gives to the students. So it will take a very less time. Why? Because the time is the time is consumed very less, and the kid can go instantly to that particular path where he has to go and give the test, because at that moment of time the kid is really nervous about the exams and everything. So nobody wants that it should be a time consumption. It should be like, okay, I just scan it and I get the paper and I'll just start it writing down, because I don't want to waste my time for it and to get the paper letter down. So for my thinking, this is the best thing for the kids. They can even, not even this in a papers, what I'm talking about, scanning the QR code, you can go through a online library, you can go through a number of books where you can study it online, means without any cost. So this is how where QR code plays a very important part, where you are just scanning it and getting the correct path, correct link, whether it is an online course or you can talk about an online library. If you're doing that, QR code, it's a really best thing to do it, because for me it's really really best, because I don't have to stand or I don't have to wait the paper to come or anything. Yeah, means scanning a QR code, you can even read a paper online, or you can even type the URL. So nowadays nobody wants to type that URL for getting that online paper or something. We can just scan the QR code and we get the instant thing and the instant resolution for us to answer it. So this is how the QR code plays a really important part, where uh, in education also, not in a uh, e-commerce, but it also helps in education part also, which is really I would think it would be interesting. The accuracy would be there, and errors part would be less, so I would be very convenient, or it becomes really very easy for me to do it, because it's a part of everything where you can talk about um, each and everything. And it's really for me in education, it not only I'll talk about this test papers, online library, we can do in Zoom calls by doing a QR code. So these comes and added advantages when you are using QR code. It makes a life, if I say for a domestic or a business life, becomes a really bit easy. But for the kids at this point of time, where the kids doesn't want to lose time and want to do the paper correctly and everything, so this is the most important, a trendy thing to do. It's a new thing, learning. We can do the online courses even if the kid wants, and by only just scanning the QR code. So this is how I would suggest the QR code is really very, very important these days, and it becomes really what I say, it's a happening. So this is how the case study which I comprised of the education part, where just I scanned that QR code and I got this page where I can do instantly whatever I want to give the answers and everything. Even the points are there. Everything we can go through by one simple QR code. So we can even clear the form. We can responses, everything. That is what we called as a Google Forms nowadays. And through this QR code, we are getting a good, really trendy things to learn. Every time it's a new thing, and I would be coming with the different case studies with the QR code, which becomes really easy to develop it. And you can help it in your own ways in your business, and I think the consumers will be really happy. So I'm talking about where I'm working as a on the behalf of UX Living Lab, where uh, our company works as a market research consultant, where we take the insights of the consumers day and day, and we try to record them, provide the reports to you, and we also help you to get an innovative ideas or strategies to make your brand more attractive. Will try to give you the reports, how many people are aware of your particular brand or anything, your company or your product. So this is how we work, but with the simple QR code, which is the main thing in our team. By scanning it, you don't have to sit for your turn to come. It is just you can go through it and opt whatever you want the services from us. So, this is what the entire session of digitalization. I hope you like it. And if you have any queries or anything, you can just ping me on my comment section. And if you want an appointment, you can also talk to me. I can give you the instant resolution for it. And if you want to know about our company or a product or a service or a pricing or anything, just let me know. I'll connect with you on this Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining us.